Hi, welcome to Third Stall Woodworking. My name is Andy, and I recently made these Christmas trees as a YouTube short out of a piece of plywood for my grandfather-in-law. Well, my daughters saw these, and now they want to make a batch of them to give away as Christmas gifts themselves. And today I'm going to make them out of this 8-foot piece of pine board. I have plans available for this project and a full build article on my website, thirdstallwoodworking.com. Following my plans, I made the layout lines on this board. That was mainly to find the center of the 3-inch diameter holes. Now that I have that laid out, I drilled a couple of holes through that center, and I'm going to use a punch to transfer those marks onto the remaining 7 boards instead of measuring it all out. This next step serves 2 purposes. I'm going to remove a 3-inch diameter hole from this board at those marked locations. That will serve as the semicircle where the ornament hangs in the tree, and then the plug that is cut out of there will be the base for the tree. I picked up this 3-inch diameter hole saw on Amazon. It's not the highest quality, it's budget friendly, but it gets the job done and it cuts through this pine just fine. Now that I have all of my pieces cut to length and the 2 holes drilled out of here, I need to cut the triangle shape to make this look like a tree. There's a lot of different ways I could make these cuts. I could use a sliding miter saw, a circular saw, track saw, jigsaw, bandsaw. The last time I did these, I used the crosscut sled on my table saw and lined up every line and cut it one by one. It was pretty tedious and time consuming. I think I found a better way. I've got this scrap piece of wood, and what I can do is this first piece that I made my reference lines on, I can just line those up to the edge of this board, and then I will attach some scrap pieces to make a little brace for it. I'll run this through, flip it, run it through again, and I should have a perfect triangle, and then I can just stick all these in there repeatedly and cut them out. That table saw jig made quick work of cutting these out. I could now do some finish sanding, paint this and call it good, but I'm gonna add a little more decorative flair. I've got a chamfer bit installed in the router table, and I'm gonna go around all of the edges on both sides of this to both soften these edges and give this a little bit of dimension. You could also easily use a hand router or sandpaper to soften these. You can see how that adds a nice little decoration and profile. Adding a chamfer to these bases by spinning it this close to the router bit is pretty sketchy. Trust me, I know. So what I came up with was using the center hole from the hole saw. I drove a screw through a piece of scrap wood, and then that allows me to keep my fingers away and spin it from above. Before I do a little sanding, the last thing these need are some holes. I need a hole in the bottom to attach the base, and that needs to be centered. I made a quick and dirty jig, which I can just set in here and drill my hole. I know that this is centered on this tree. Then I also need a couple of holes for these 1/2-inch eye hooks, which will hang the ornament from. To drill those, I've got a 1/16 inch bit installed. I'll just go at an angle. And then I'll use my jig for the center hole. Now it's time to turn these trees green. The first thing I'm going to do though is add a couple coats of spray primer. This pine really absorbs paint, so this will help save on the green paint and give a nice base. I used some of the cutoffs, put some screws through there, and that'll allow me to use these as stands. I gave these all a light sanding with 320 grit sandpaper, wiped them off with a tack cloth, and now I'm hitting them with my green spray paint. I'm giving these bases all a coat of pre-stain in preparation for the stain. I made some quick little racks out of some scrap wood so they can sit while they dry. I'm also going to do a couple of trees to see how they look stained. I wiped off any excess pre-stain, and now I'm applying my oil-based actual stain. This one here is called Mocha, and then these two up here were English Chestnut. Just trying a different couple variations to see which one looks the best. The last step in the finishing process is to just add a little bit of wipe on polyurethane, keep it simple, give these a little bit of shine and protection. Well, this turned out to be a really fun weekend project. I think these would do really well at a craft fair or on Marketplace. As you can see, my daughters have already gotten started painting some of these, and they're getting excited to give them away as Christmas gifts. I found these cool ornament photo frames that fit perfectly in here, and they add a little extra personalization to them. I will have links to everything that I used to build these, including these ornaments, in the build article and, of course, in the plan set. All of that is available at thirdstallwoodworking.com or on Etsy. I'll have links to those in the description. Thanks for watching.